We're at just over a week in the month of June, and mobile gaming is already doing what it does best just the same, with tons of new games coming out every day and some actual real good games. Hello friends, this is Mobile, and today we're checking out over 20 more new mobile games in June for Android and iOS.
The mountain stands here, yet it cannot be seen.
So first of all, this is just a quick mention for those of you who missed it yesterday. Where Winds Meet is, we're not going over the whole foundation with the game, it's just that developers are working on a new expansion, and it's called the Hidden Mountain, which is they're basically taking the world and pushing it vertically into a full layered mountain region, where you could say exploration wouldn't just be wide anymore, it'll be sort of stacked. Cliffs, hidden routes. It also introduces a new mysterious faction tucked pretty much deep into these peaks, bringing fresh new story beats, a new fighting style, basically shifting fights into a more intense reactive rhythm. Check it out, this expansion is actually coming out somewhere in July. Sitting in at number 2, we have, you probably know this already, we hardly position a sport game in our top 5 or this high, but we don't hesitate to do so when it's actually justified, and Flash Peak really deserves a spot. Like, it ain't trying to be the same stuff, slow tactical kind of sim games, but it's more like football got dropped in an arena and told to fight for its life. It's got 4v4 real-time matches, third-person view, full control of the player, and everything is happening fast enough that there's like no time to overthink anything. No offsides, no fouls, no stoppages killing the flow. It's a bit wild and very one more match energy when it really clicks.
Contact with enemy structure confirmed.
Going down to number 3, we've got Modern Jet Fighters, which is, I'm gonna say it's basically aerial fighting sim, sort of stripped down into multiplayer. Like, you're not sitting through a full flight sim sort of game here, you just jump into jet fights and every match is about outplaying the other players. Most of the game actually lives in its PvP mode, it's got 5v5 team battles, 3v3, a quick one-on-one duel matches. You can unlock jets, winning, upgrading weapons, slowly turning your craft into something way more deadly than what you just basically started with. It's a pretty simple game, very arcade heavy, but when the matches click, it really does feel like some real chaotic aerial warfare for that size, on mobile as a free game. At number 4, we have Yardman. And this is one of those games that doesn't even try to be normal. It's sort of pure identity crisis all packed into a mobile game. So this is actually a multiplayer Jamaican themed shooting sort of brawler that throws you in a comedy sort of street arena where everything feels like a backyard showdown that's gone online. Like, you're fighting with rocks, machetes, brooms, slingshots, basically anything that looks like it was grabbed mid-argument. So if you go in expecting competitive polish, you're going to be missing the point with this game. This is more about vibes and just laughing at what basically happened like 5 seconds ago with friends. Pretty much the same deal. Number 5, we've got Supercars Gang Auto, which is, I would say, it's a pretty good example of having some sort of stroke while choosing a genre. The game is a open world driving sim, and it's trying to be like 5 different games at the same time. You've got supercar racing, street challenges, parking missions, story missions, police chases, upgrades, open world cruising, and it all just kind of exists in the same space like a buffet where nobody even decides what the main dish even is. If you're going into this one expecting a sim game, you're going to be pretty much confused very fast. If you go in expecting an overstuffed mobile playground, well, the game starts to make sense actually. It's a free game, about 1 GB in total, and it plays online. Driftfall caught us off guard a little while ago because it really did look like a generic pixel art game, but it sort of turned out to be much more. First of all, the vibe just reminds you of those older RPGs. It just keeps unlocking new systems every few hours, where like 1 minute you're clearing dungeons, the next you're upgrading and chasing materials for a weapon you probably didn't know you absolutely actually wanted. It's not trying to be the deepest action RPG ever made, but it does a pretty good job making progression feel rewarding. Definitely a sleeper hit. Up at number 7, we've got La Madriguera. I think that's how it's pronounced, which is a puzzle game that's sort of hard to bear, but made entirely with that acknowledgement. So it's a pretty stupid game in nature, but it's also made stupid in the best way possible. You're this lazy bear stuck in an armchair, refusing to get up for whatever reason, and through the entire game you stretch this ridiculous extra long fork across the room, grabbing, pushing, dragging objects just to solve puzzles and like one awkward move all at a time. Pretty funny game, low pressure, weirdly satisfying when your lazy genius strategy actually works. It's also playable offline. Down to number 8, we've got Nimble Blade, which is actually a prototype action hack and slash sort of inspired by the one-hit kill games, and it's built around duels with actually a surprising amount of stuff going on. You're going to be jumping into tournaments, one-on-one fights, multi-opponent brawls, with like spacing, timing, and weapon choices like probably the most important part, and when it does click, it feels really clean. Definitely a little rough since it's in the prototype stage, but the ambition's loud. If you like medieval melee systems and don't mind a bit of jank, well, this one's gonna work for you. Number 9, we've got the game called Soon Face. It's a pretty small horror game that is trying to punch above its weight, where you're basically trapped inside this cabin deep in the woods, searching for clues, puzzles, and at the same time trying to escape this Soon Face before it catches you. And what actually makes it work is a lot of the atmosphere is made in a way to constantly keep you on edge. It's not the most ambitious horror game that you're going to be playing, but if you do enjoy tense escape room sort of style horror games, this one's a surprisingly easy game to get hooked on. Zombies War Last Battle is pretty much exactly what the title says. There's no crafting, no survival meters, no pretending to be something deeper. You just grab a gun, walk into a zombie-infested area one at a time, and start cleaning the place. It's the kind of game you'd download when you're in the mood to shoot zombies without thinking too hard about it, but it's got some new weapons, bigger enemies showing up, bosses that start appearing, and the game keeps throwing more. Nothing revolutionary, of course, but it works if you're after a rather simple offline zombie shooting game with value.
Fight!
Number 11, we've got Knockout 2, Wrath of the Karen. In my opinion, pretty good game, pure good old fighting. It's basically a punch-out style sort of boxing game turned into a comedy where like every fight is some real-world problem situation. You play as an FBI boxing agent and you go in through these weird situations like grocery store meltdowns, parking spot escalations, with these enemies all with their own attack patterns you actually have to learn and counter. It's not about just button mashing, there ain't no ads either, no energy systems, it's just a pretty dumb, funny, straight fighting game.
Hey, sweetie. Look what I found!
Sitting at number 12, we've got Among the Sleep. The game finally made its way to mobile and it is still one of the coolest setups in this entire genre. We probably had one more game like this ever made, Baby in Yellow, and instead of, playing as a grown-up detective, cop, survivor, you're literally playing as a toddler through a nightmare, while everything just makes you feel small and fragile. Most of the game is exploration, puzzles, hiding, all that stuff since you're small, slow, completely helpless, which is exactly what makes the horror work. Easily one of the most unique horror adventures you get to play on mobile. It's a premium game, including a free demo on both Google and the Apple Store. I think I've actually mentioned number 13. Crysis X is already out in Eastern regions, for those of you who did miss it, while still rolling out and building toward a wider global release by the end of June. So far, the game really fits that early access phase, and the survival energy is all there. Got a great survival pace, ton of systems, that constant pressure of never being safe. It's got that classic you versus a map setup where survival is basically the only thing that matters. Or basically a giant survival sandbox where everything is just competing for your time and resource. Crysis X is an online game, of course. It's about 13 gigabytes in total. It's a free game, and it does actually work with a controller.
Sigils. Victory now comes from strategy.
Number 14, we've got Ragnarok Origin Classic, which actually came around here not too long ago. It just went out global, and it's now multi-platform support. So whether you're on PC or mobile, you're pretty much covered. You can grab it straight from the Google Play Store, or the Apple Store, or the official PC client. Just keep in mind, this ain't just nostalgia. The developers have kept all the classic charm from the original Ragnarok Online, the world, the classes, the adventure, but they've sort of simplified growth mechanics to make it easier. They've also got a monthly pass system, and it's really delivering. It's, you could say, a must-play for old school fans and, of course, new players alike. Going down to number 15, we've got Bomber Legends, which is an online game. It feels like somebody looked at classic Bomberman games and thought, What if we actually turn this into a multiplayer brawler, where instead of playing as a random little bomber, you're jumping into these arenas with different superheroes, each bringing their own abilities and playstyles. But the goal is pretty simple: drop bombs, blow up obstacles, destroy enemy towers, and outsmart whoever's standing in your way. Pretty fast game, it is very competitive, matches don't waste time, and once you start unlocking new heroes, well, the game becomes a lot more strategic. Definitely one of those easy to learn mobile games that can turn into some serious obsession. Monster Hunter Escape is a pretty straightforward sort of survival game where you've been kidnapped, thrown into a creepy location, and now need to figure out how to get out before the monster hunting you finds you first. So most of the gameplay revolves around exploring, collecting useful items, solving simple little puzzles here and there, and unlocking new areas. It's definitely one of those old school indie horror games that focuses more on tension and escape mechanics than any other sort of realistic or even graphics. If you're into that escape the monster sort of formula, you'll probably feel right at home with this one.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm the creator of social fish keeping game Tiny Aquarium.
At number 17, we've got Tiny Aquarium. It's a very different game, really different. Looks like it's nothing at first, just some blocky looking low poly pixel art. You just drop some fish in a tank, do a bit of fishing, upgrading a few things, and then you're checking out your phone like more than usual, even in the middle of work. It's got that old school virtual pit feeling where you're just weirdly addicted, attached to what's basically just a little system of fish and timers. I'm pretty sure most of you know about the game Aquarium. It's a little bit like that, nothing loud or complicated, it's just steady progression that actually feels good to come back to. It is a paid game, takes you $2.99, but still worth it. It took a few extra days, and I've said it before, for those of you who missed it, G.O.R.E is finally now on Android and iOS. I'm gonna start with the fact that it's a third-person action slashing game that's, well, for better or worse, feels like a PlayStation 2 game that's just now back as a mobile port. You're basically this walking tank of a character smashing down entire rooms filled with enemies with your guns, a little coffin in the back. A few hours down the line, the game does get repetitive, and what you want to do is basically finish the game as fast as you can. The enemy variety is pretty mediocre, missions blend together, and the jank shows. If you miss that old school arcade energy, there's definitely something satisfying and lovable about it. Number 19, we've got the Wizard World, the Harry's Mister, which we did mention before. An action-adventure that really does look like it's inspired by the Hogwarts legacy, but it's also made for mobile. To be fair, there's a pretty decent amount of sandbox here in the game. You've got broom flying, spell experimentation, a lot of exploration that actually encourages messing around. But compared to Hogwarts legacy, it feels like just a sort of indie sim game. It's not trying to be Hogwarts is what I'm saying, but it's definitely standing in the same hallway wearing the same robe and hoping nobody asks a lot of questions. It's a pretty good game, it's offline. And last but not least, for those of you who do like innovative, creative sort of games, we've got here something called Endoparasitic, which is also a pixel art survival horror game, and it's built around just one idea. You are this broken thing, and everything you do is a struggle. You're a scientist, in fact, stranded on this asteroid after a monster attack leaves you down to a single working arm and infected with this specific parasite that's just slowly killing you. The whole game is about doing basic things the hardest way possible. You're dragging yourself, manually loading bullets, aiming, shooting, thinking, while balancing a flashlight at the same time and trying not to get caught. It ain't action horror, it's stress simulation, designed as a survival game. Pretty good game if you ask me, you can actually play the game for free. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. I'll see you again tomorrow.